LGBT icon and drag pioneer RuPaul Charles came under fire for some comments that he made in an interview with The Guardian. I'm going to read you those comments, and then I'm going to read you the feedback from some past queens on the show, as well as RuPaul's response. So in the interview with The Guardian, he was asked about trans inclusion in Drag Race. He said in part the following: drag loses its sense of danger and its sense of irony once it's not men doing it, because at its core, it's a social statement and a big F you to male-dominated culture. So for men to do it, it's really punk rock, because it's a real rejection of masculinity. Going on to say, you can identify as a woman and say you're transitioning, but it changes once you start changing your body. It takes on a different thing. It changes the whole concept of what we're doing. So online, the backlash was pretty much immediate, but surprisingly, RuPaul doubled down on those remarks, tweeting out, "You can take performance-enhancing drugs and still be an athlete, just not in the Olympics." So a lot of people were commenting on this. Interestingly enough, there were a lot of past contestants that were commenting on this, some of whom have since come out or came out on the show, in the case of Peppermint, as trans. So Gia Gunn said, "Although I do feel the separation from being a drag queen and now a trans woman, there should not be any reason to be not accepted when it comes to the art of drag. If you are a fierce artist, you're a fierce artist and should be judged based on your art, not your gender identity." Jiggly Caliente said, "There's a revolution amongst the rebels. Pay attention. We refuse to stay marginalized and held down while you choose who to take up with you. Hashtag blend, hashtag thought process." I love that. Hashtag trans power. And then tweeting at Peppermint, who is the subject of the interview when The Guardian brought it up, "Kudos to your song. It's timely and very relevant to our times. Hashtag trans revolution." Sasha Velour, who is the reigning queen of Drag Race from season 9, said, "My drag was born in a community full of trans women, trans men, and gender non-conforming folks doing drag. That's the real world of drag, like it or not. I think it's fabulous and I will fight my entire life to protect and uplift it." Ben de la Creme said, "My partner of almost 3 years is trans, and hashtag Ben de la Christ. Help anyone who tries to tell him what he can and can't do, just saying." And Peppermint, who again was brought up specifically in this interview by RuPaul, just tweeted a series of emojis not wanting to comment on it. Following this, RuPaul did issue an apology, saying in a number of tweets, "Each morning I pray to set aside everything I think I know so I may have an open mind and a new experience. I understand and regret the hurt I have caused. The trans community are heroes of our shared LGBTQ movement. You are my teachers." Following up with, "In the 10 years we've been casting Drag Race, the only thing we've ever screened for is charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. That will never change." And now an update on top of all this to the story is Peppermint wrote a piece for Billboard.com, and I would really urge you guys to read the whole thing because it's really important. And if we're going to be talking about the trans community and drag, we should be listening, of course, to a trans drag queen. Peppermint says in part, "I'm so thankful for the opportunities I've had throughout my career, particularly in the past year. Doing Drag Race was one of the best moments of my life. RuPaul kicked open so many doors for queer and gender non-conforming folks and is an absolute trailblazer in the world of drag, but recently Ru made statements I disagree with. However, ending with, it shows all of us there is room for growth, education, and I'm hoping a bit of evolution," referencing RuPaul's apology, which did come relatively swiftly. And I know that there is still a lot of hurt going on right now, but as far as apologies go, and I've talked to a number of people about this, it really feels incredibly sincere. It's what you want from an apology, saying, "I'm wrong, I hurt you, and now it's my time to learn from you. Like, I need now to be taught because I obviously am not correct on this, so I need to educate myself."
Yeah, no, he had a great response to this, and like I think everyone could learn from it. That said, I kind of understand his initial reaction to this whole thing, given that like drag racing has historically been about, it's been men being in, like, you're educate me on this because I know like you're.
Well, I think that's where it's sort of murky. Drag Race came into pop culture largely from RuPaul's Drag Race, which was traditionally men.
Straight men.
No, gay men.
Gay men.
Well, I mean, whatever, okay. Whoever, just
men, just
yes,
men.
Yeah, typically
physical
it was
men,
cis men.
Cis men.
Yeah, performing as women, like dressing up as women. And that was like how the show and how drag culture, so much of it was introduced to a mainstream audience. But what we're seeing is that that's maybe how it began on a television show, but the origins of drag and just queer performance is so much broader and larger than that. And there is absolutely a historical basis for trans inclusion and for just everybody, that if you're in this LGBTQ umbrella, everyone should be welcome. All should be welcome. And so I think that it is important.
But even in this specific art form, you think everyone should be welcome, and inclusiveness like has no bounds. Like everyone should be included in anything that they want to be.
I do. I think that that's why drag is so punk rock, where it's like you take the constraints of what we are presented with in society for gender roles and you just shake it up, and that's what makes it so awesome. And so I think that that's where the consensus that people are coming to, but we're really interested to hear your thoughts, so share them with us. Also, what's your favorite drag queen? Let us know, and stay with us. We have more stories after the break.